Hey guys, Coupon to Provide here, and today I'm coming at you with a Christmas themed junk journal, and this is going to be part one, the cover. Of course, as usual, we are going to be using very affordable craft supplies, a lot of things you might have on hand already, or you can find at your local dollar stores. So if you're interested, let's get started. So for starters, I'm going to be using a fabric placemat from the dollar store for my cover. Also, I'm going to use some cardboard boxes from some snacks that I had on hand, scissors, glue, and a brush. I'm actually going to be able to get two covers out of this one placemat by simply cutting it in half. I'm going to take it, turn it inside out so I can remove the stitching that holds the two pieces together. The plaid piece is going to be the exterior cover, and the green piece is going to be the interior cover. After you remove the stitching, you should be left with two full-size pieces. Next, we're going to set those aside and begin cleaning up our boxes. All I'm going to do is clean up the edges because the spine is kind of already there for you. So you want to keep the two pieces front and back intact by using one of the spines from the boxes. I'm actually going to want to fit a 4x6 photo in my book. So my journal is going to be 6 inches by 5 inches. Simply by taking a ruler and a blade, I am going to cut down my cover piece. Once you have your measurements 6 inches tall by 5 inches wide, or whatever measurements you would like to go with, you can begin cutting down all the sides. And we're going to do this for all 3 pieces that I'm going to be using for my cover. Now I decided to go with 3 cardboard pieces because I wanted the book cover to be very sturdy. And plus, they were free products, so why not, right? Now I'm going to begin gluing the pieces together. All I'm going to do is take my liquid glue, brush it on with the brush. You can use whatever you want. And I'm going to cut as I go. I like to do this because I feel like it gives me a more accurate cut, or it allows me to make adjustments as I go, because sometimes my measurements can be off because I tend to not be a very patient person and I just kind of roundabout measure and go, and sometimes that makes things not so even. So now that I have my two pieces together, I'm going to go ahead and begin pushing the glue into the cardboard and applying it to the next cardboard. Just a quick FYI, I actually hauled this brush in a set on a Hobby Lobby clearance haul a while back, and it was super cheap, but you can find similar brushes or functional brushes at your local dollar stores that can serve the same exact purpose so that you can have them on hand on a budget. Now I'm actually going to take a brayer and begin squishing my sheets together. Again, this is just going to get the sheets to adhere and combine and be one nice structured piece, trying to thread it into all the fibers of the paper. Okay, so once that's done, we can go ahead and begin paper clipping them together to kind of give them a minute to set and get nice and stuck. Okay, so not gonna lie, I didn't let it dry. I actually began trimming down as it was a little moist. To me, it just doesn't matter. I'm not a patient person, so I did it. You can wait for it to fully dry if you like. I just like to be able to make adjustments as I go, and I feel like I can do that with a softer cardboard. The only thing it's gonna do is clump up your blade and you just clean it. That's all. Now that we have all of our pieces trimmed down, I am going to take it and begin folding it and creasing where I want really nice creases on the spine. I like to kind of go back and forth in both directions and allow it to bubble up where I want it to bubble up, and make sure I have really strong creases in the cover. Now my glue is not completely dry because I'm a very impatient person and I have to do this on my free time, but I actually like to work with my product a little bit wet. So now I'm going to go ahead and apply the cover sheet. All we're going to do is the same exact steps, by applying the glue and making sure that we have a generous amount so that the fabric can dry to it and it can get into the fibers of the paper and the fibers of the fabric to kind of bring them together. I'm going to start off with one side and begin pulling and adjusting to get those lines as straight as possible. Once we have it how we want it, and make sure you crease around the creases of the cover where the spine is, then you're going to go ahead and begin covering the spine as well, doing the same exact thing, adding the glue, straightening the lines, make sure you get into the creases and get your fabric nice and adhered. Okay, so is it just me, or does it look like I'm going to the rhythm of the music? I think it's pretty funny. Okay, so now that we have put all of our fabric onto the entire cover, we can go ahead and move on to the next step, which is actually gluing all the sides down to the inside of the cover. So I'm going to take my old blow dryer, this is just my old hair dryer, and somewhat dry the cover a little bit to set that fabric. Then I'm just going to do a diagonal cut along the corners, and this is just going to allow you to fold the fabric and not have fat corners. Super simple. And then I'm just going to trim it down because we actually don't need that much fabric going around the edges. Once you have that done, same thing. Very repetitive. That's why this is so simple, and it works for pretty much any kind of cover you want to make. We're going to take that glue, adhere our fabric down, make sure you get it all nice and into the fibers, get those fibers to kind of mesh together. It just makes sure that it dries nice and solid whenever the glue dries. And you're going to do that to all four sides. Now that we have all four sides glued down, we're going to go ahead and dry our cover using a blow dryer. You can use whatever you got, whatever works for you. This is what I got because I don't want to buy anything else because I'm cheap. But once our cover is dry, or mostly dry, we're going to go ahead and begin making our measurements for our inside cover. That is going to be the green side of our placemat. So basically all you're going to do is measure it, cut it. I like to kind of go outside of my cut lines because you never know. You don't want to cut too much, and you want to make sure that you're able to make adjustments if possible, because again, I'm impatient. I kind of eyeball it. Even though I have a ruler out there, I'm not fancy, so I just like to make those little changes as I go. Okay, so now that we have our piece cut, can you guess what's next? Anybody? Exactly. We're gonna go ahead and glue it all down and get it all nice and stuck together. Now that we have completed the inside cover of our junk journal, we are going to begin adding embellishments for the personality of the cover. So I have a scrap piece of fabric that came on some packaging, and of course I couldn't toss it. It's 100% cotton, it's gorgeous, so why not keep it, right? Free product. And I'm going to take that and do the same thing that we've been doing through this entire process. The only thing now is that we're actually putting fabric onto cardboard. So you want to add a little bit more adhesive, make it a little more wet so that it gets into those fibers and kind of blends it all together, because we want this to stay nice and tight together. Once you've done the front part, we're going to go ahead and move to the center spine. Again, doing the same exact thing, but on this you want to make sure that you tuck that tie or your ribbon or whatever you're using into the creases, wrap the creases and all that, because you want it to all flow really nice together as you open and close your journal. You want it to be one nice piece. So once you have your ribbon in place and you like the placement, go ahead and blow dry it, because you don't want it to move around too much. Since you're going to be working with other product on the cover, you're going to dry it so that it stays in place. And I just, as you can see, use the brayer, which also, by the way, I hauled in an affordable craft supplies haul. On my channel playlist, I have a lot of videos showing you guys how I shop on a budget and get really cool stuff for super cheap. The really funny part is that I always do my tutorials with like minimal supplies, and a lot of the things that I haul are actually pretty cool and they're very affordable, but I use those in my personal project and then I recreate it with affordable solutions for you guys, because I feel like that's where the challenge comes in. And especially if you don't have a very large craft supply, then you don't want to feel pressured to recreate things by going out and breaking the bank. So once it's dry, we're going to go ahead and continue embellishing. And I'm going to take a red cotton trim and do the same exact thing to get them to stay together. Now we're putting fabric to fabric. So you're going to want to kind of punch the brush into the fabric and get that glue to go into both fabrics. That way it all dries together. I hope that makes sense. Since it is thread or fiber, it can kind of interlock between the two types of fabrics and hold on to them better. So these sheets we actually created together some time ago, and I do believe it was in a Tuesday morning haul when we did it. I was showing you guys how I made this little sheet. Kind of looks like a faux leather, and I will try to show you once again, maybe at the end of this part of the tutorial, just for those that missed it or didn't watch the hauls or don't watch the hauls, whatever the case may be. I'll try to recreate that for you at the end of the video. But I really like this look. It kind of looks like a crackled faux leathery sheet kind of thing, and we're going to do the same thing. Like I said, we're not fancy or technical here. Like, we're super simple and affordable, and you need a lot of glue. That's all, basically. And then everything else just kind of works itself out. So we're going to go ahead and glue this down to our front cover. Again, making sure that you put it nice and in place, get it exactly how you want it. Flatten it to the fabric. Make sure you wrap it around the edges of the fabric that are on the cover, because you want all of this to stick together very well with minimal lifting or minimal wear and tear or damage or anything like that from not allowing it to adhere to the different layers that you're putting on. So once we have that part done, I'm going to go ahead and add this Santa. This was actually from a huge Christmas card kit set that I got from King Dollar years ago, and it was an awesome set. Oh, I loved it. Anyway, we're going to add one of these to the center of our faux leather sheet, and it's going to look adorable. Again, add in the glue, making sure it adheres very well, push it down, get it all worked up in there, and get everything stuck together. And you're going to hear me say that about 417 times, but it is what it is. From here, once we have this all nice and glued together, I have a few pieces of metal that I actually got from the Wish app. They are photo corners, or you can put them onto wood boxes, basically whatever you want to do with them. They're just corner pieces. And I thought it would be a little cool to kind of double them up and add some chunkiness to the cover. So that's what we're going to do. And I found this fabric glue not too long ago at King Dollar, and it's actually very tacky. So I thought it would be really good for this. And it comes out kind of liquidy, but once it starts to dry, it gets very tacky. So I'm just putting that glue onto these pieces and putting them where I want them on the cover, and they're going to stay nice and in place, and it's going to look so cute and chunky, just how I want it. Of course, you're going to be using whatever adhesive you have on hand, but since I use this one, I'm actually going to speed up the drying process by using my blow dryer. Now, the cool thing is with the blow dryer, it actually pushed the metal down kind of in place since I had that tip, and it squeezed out any excess glue. Once that glue was dry, all I did was take my blade, go through, kind of pull off those little tacky ends, and clean up the metal pieces so that the piece all together looks very nice and clean. Once you've done your embellishment pieces, you can go through and begin checking all of the different angles and sides and areas of your cover just to clean up anything that's kind of hanging off, or maybe some unthreaded or frayed fabric or anything like that, just to clean it up, make it look nice and put together. So as you can see, I created another one using a seat cushion from the Dollar Tree. You know how they put out those seasonal ones? I took that fabric and created another one last year, and it came out super adorable, but it is smaller, and I wanted a photo to fit into this one, so that's why I went a little bit bigger this time. So now we're going to go ahead and take a look at how to create the faux leather fabric. Now I actually gave you a really affordable tutorial using clear school glue and food coloring in my latest Halloween ephemera tutorial, and you can definitely check that one out. But for now, we're just going to use some tea stain paper. We're going to put it into an embossing plate that is Christmas themed, pass it through the Texture Boutique, which I found at Tuesday Morning for $20, also in a haul. All the supplies that I use are in hauls. And it's just Christmas related, really cute. And I'm going to use my Ranger or Tim Holtz Distress Oxide inks and just begin distressing it, because why not? It's so cute, right? So this is the vintage photo color, and I actually made these blender dowel things as well in a haul. I'm always doing something, guys. It's just how it works. And I'm going to use one of the newer ones that I got. It's so exciting. Ground Espresso. The hubby actually ordered these for me when I was sick with the flu and I needed something to make me happy. He ordered them for me, and that was so exciting. So I did haul this glaze previously also, and I offered this substitution in that Halloween tutorial for you guys. But I love the glaze. The glaze is what gives it that perfect faux leather look. And I showed you guys how to play with the different color variations with food coloring, also from the dollar store in the Halloween tutorial. So you can check that out. Now, I take the glaze and just brush it on there with a foam brush. As you can see, I've brushed many things on that paper. and dry it super fast with a blow dryer. Now the oxide inks kind of act differently with this liquid glaze, so you could definitely add another coat, but for now I'm just going to leave it at that just to shorten up the tutorial for the sake of the video. And it gives you kind of like that same faux leather paper look, and I absolutely love it, and I can't wait to add it into the journal. So you can go back over and distress if you like. I just wanted to add a little bit more dark points or spots or spaces to the sheet because I felt like it was just a little too light, and I like to grunge things up quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie, I think it would look so adorable as an inside pocket. It is so cute. So I hope this mini tutorial along with the actual tutorial was helpful for you guys. Feel free to check out the Halloween video as well. And for now, that is pretty much it. So I do hope that you enjoyed this part 1 tutorial of my junk journal for Christmas, and there will be other parts to follow. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I so much appreciate you clicking on this video to watch, and those of you that answered my question on social media and said that it would be no problem doing it in parts, you guys saved the day. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to comment down below. Let me know what junk journal styles you are working with right now. What do you like to do different in yours, or what's your favorite adhesive to use? Let everybody know down below so we can all share that information. You can follow me on my Facebook group and Instagram at Coupons Provide. And don't forget, guys, keep couponing. Bye!